Hello again BookTube, and this is my second video, and for this particular video I have decided to do a book review. And for this particular book review I have picked up one of my all-time favorite novels, that is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hossein. The book was originally published in 2007, but I got to read it just this previous year in the summer of 2016, and it has been one of my favorite books for a very long time, not just because of the epic storyline and the way the plot unfolds and lovable and redeemable characters, but because this book has literally changed the way I read books and I perceive books. So I guess let's just jump into the book review. So Khalid Hossein is an Afghan-born American writer. So he fled the country during the time of conflict to get away from violence and terrorism and made himself a life in America. A Thousand Splendid Sun is a successor to his debut novel, The Kite Runner. Both these books are historical fiction novels, and Khalid Hossein does an extremely great job of portraying the stories of the people of Afghanistan and what they had to go through during the time of this conflict. In A Thousand Splendid Suns, he speaks from the perspective of two women, and the book is divided into two parts. And the way he was capable of empathizing with these characters and speaking in the voices of these women and what they were going through is exceptional and nothing like I have ever experienced before. And the other thing why I love this book is because this book had the power to humanize a conflict that was happening so far away from me, and that was such a moving experience in itself, because like the first time I read this book I was literally in tears. Like, these characters, I knew that these characters were fictional, but Khalid Hossein had done a great job, and he had made you realize while reading this book that even though the stories of these characters is fictional, those same stories were lived by thousands of people of Afghanistan during the time of this conflict, many of whom perished in this conflict. And this book, in a way, I guess, was a tribute to those people. Plus, it recorded a very important moment in the history of Afghanistan. And so I had to just revisit the book, and I read this book again, and this time I made notes, and it made me realize how the events in Afghanistan unfolded, how the communist regime came and fell, and the Mujahideen came into power, and the factional war started, and then people were dying, and then the Taliban came, and then when after the 9/11, how other countries took notice of the conflict that was going on within the borders of Afghanistan. So it made me understand all those complicated problems and those complicated turn of events. Plus, it also made me understand that religion is a very complicated thing, and Islam has so many dimensions, and it was more than just understanding the concept of Sunnis and Shia Muslims, but how Islam is integrated into ethnicity as well. It plays a role there also, because when you read about the Mujahideen, you understand that these factions were divided on the basis of ethnicity. The Pashtuns, which were a majority in Afghanistan for a very long time, then the Tajiks, which were a minority, and the Hazara and the Uzbeks. So these stories told in these books made you realize how Islam is not just black and white. There are so many shades in between, and it made me realize, and I guess it reminded me that reading in itself is an exercise in empathy. And living in one country, you live in your own ethos, surrounded by your own circumstances and your own cultural and traditional heritages, and you become isolated from the conflicts that go on around the world. And I realized that books like A Thousand Splendid Suns had that power of humanizing conflicts and humanizing stories which were not similar to yours, but help you realize what the common ground there is, if I'm making any sense. So yeah, I'm sorry if this is a rant, but that's the way I feel about this book. This book has been a milestone in my life, and has changed the way I read books. And I'm not saying that everyone should, scientifically research every book they read, or, go through the background of the book, how the author wrote it, or anything like that. But books are more than just like, I'm enjoying reading this book. It's helping my vocabulary, but they present to you stories and give you a chance of stepping into the shoes of someone else, and for even for a brief period of time, living in their skins, living their lives, and experiencing what they have experienced. And so it made me realize that books actually have that power. And I don't know if this book review is making any sense, but yes, A Thousand Splendid Suns is a very good read, and I'm looking forward to reading The Mountains Echo, which is the third book by Khalid Hussein. And yeah, I guess that is pretty much it for the book review. And I hope I did well for my first book review. And please, I want this to be a conversation, so please put down your thoughts in the comment section below and tell me what you felt about this books and what you feel about what I said. If you have a diverging opinion, please share it with me. And if you like this video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And what else? I'm not very good at outros, so okay, bye.